Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to talk about the eclipse. We will very quickly look at the August 12th eclipse 2026 from here in Ireland, so we can see the sky getting darker here and then brightening up again before the sun sets. That is the partial eclipse that we're seeing from here in Ireland. So as I've mentioned in numerous videos this year, in a couple of videos recently, in at least one video this month, here we are at about 10 to 6, starting to, get ready at about 6 o'clock would be a good idea. Just about 6:15, the moon will start moving in front of the sun. We'll have our first contact. Then the moon will cover as much of the sun as it's going to cover from here in Ireland, up to about 96% at just about 7:15, and then the moon will move off the face of the sun, but that part won't be visible from many locations in Ireland, simply because the moon and the sun are going to get too low in the sky. We can see our last or fourth contact here at just about 8 o'clock, and technically the sun is still above the horizon, so from some locations in Ireland you will get to see the entirety of the eclipse, but of course by the time the eclipse is ending, the sun will be so low in the sky that it could be blocked out by trees or buildings. So the beginning of the eclipse is really the part to catch. Try and watch it as far through to the center as you can before it gets obscured. And of course, if you can see it all the way to the end, great. I hope you do get to see it all the way to the end. Just make sure that you're wearing eclipse glasses or some sort of eye protection. We are not seeing a total eclipse from here in Ireland, but this eclipse is a total eclipse from other locations. I am going to try to find some of these locations, but it looks like, well, Stellarium doesn't know about the couple of small settlements and towns that exist on this part of Greenland just here. The eclipse will actually travel across practically the North Pole, coming down by Independence Fjord just up here in Greenland, coming all the way down through the bottom, this portion of Greenland, and then across by Iceland before coming down through Spain and into the Mediterranean. So I'll take a quick look from here. Now that we are very, very far north in Greenland, and not many people are going to be watching the eclipse from this location, but we'll see how close to 100% we get. I think we get 100%. Yep, 100% perfect. Total eclipse. All of the corona of the sun visible. The eclipse is going to last, I think it should tell me, 2 minutes. So we're getting 2 minutes of the eclipse here, which is great. 2 minutes of the eclipse is fairly long. Sometimes it's only a minute. 2 minutes is pretty great. And because of the position of the sun in the sky, we're getting to see Jupiter and Mercury as well. They would be pretty much below the horizon when the eclipse is happening for us here in Ireland, but you can see they're getting the eclipse much, much earlier. The shadow of the moon will pass across the earth from Greenland down next to Iceland and then down towards Spain. And it is just at the northern tip of Iceland that, well, just off the coast of the northern tip of Iceland, that will actually have the perfect maximum of the eclipse. We're going to take a look at it from Reykjavik, and I do believe that the eclipse is partial from some parts of Reykjavik and total from other parts of Reykjavik. Reykjavik is a big city. It is a big city. It's the capital city of Iceland. Here we're seeing 100% just about 2 minutes from at least some locations of Reykjavik. I am pretty sure that due to the elevation, obviously there's plenty of tall buildings in Reykjavik, there's skyscrapers, this may be blocked out from some locations. Some parts of Reykjavik may be too far. The suburbs, for example, may not be able to see this. You really do want to be as much to the east of the city as possible, and it will or could be a little bit better from slightly further north as well. So of course this map of the world here is pretty small, so it's tough to pinpoint exact locations unless they're given names like they are here. Hopefully the south of Spain will provide me with some more names, but of course we're very close to northern Africa here as well, so we're getting a lot of names from there, and they do go in alphabetical order, which I am going to skip because I happen to know that it should look very good from Valencia or Valencia. There we go, Valencia or Valencia. This city in southern Europe is very, very close to the peak of the eclipse, Again, we'll double check. I don't know if it's going to be 100% from the entire city, but it should be 100% for at least some parts of the city, unless the sun goes down. So again, from this location, now that we're through to the other end of the eclipse, we're seeing it very, very close to sunset. We'll get rid of the ground here and see if it's visible just as the sun goes down. As an actual total eclipse, it appears to be. So here is the corona of the sun, there's the moon. We will use our zero horizon, which I often say that a zero horizon, a completely perfectly flat horizon, is almost unachievable unless you're on the big salt flats in Bolivia and other areas. Even then there's mountains in some directions, so it's not completely perfect. We're looking west from the coast of Spain. We're looking out over the Mediterranean here. So that means it is a little bit more achievable. There we go. The zero horizon is on, but there is no land. There we go. So there is the zero horizon. And we can see that if you are looking out over the ocean, the moon and the sun will still be fairly above the horizon as this happens, but it is happening as the sun sets. So we can see that with the color that we're getting of the sun. We will also take a look a little further north in Spain. Again, there is so many towns and cities in Spain, it's easier to just type it in. Only a few cities and towns were shown for Greenland and Iceland, but I guess Stellarium knows Spain just a little bit better. In northern Spain, we're going to get to see the eclipse a little bit earlier. We're only seeing it for a minute now, so the duration of the eclipse has gone down. Well, a minute 50 seconds. It's still nearly 2 minutes, but it's not quite as long. We can see that it's still quite low in the sky, but high enough that Jupiter and Mercury are above the horizon. You probably won't see Mercury because of the extinction of the atmosphere, but you may see Jupiter. The only issue now is that we're still looking into the west. We're looking west from Bilbao, which means we're looking towards the mountains, towards the Pyrenees, towards the border with France. So that means it's more likely to be blocked out by terrain, but it also means if you can get up on one of the mountains, you may be able to see it. But we're not going to be looking over the ocean. We're not going to be looking out over the Mediterranean, which will make things a little bit harder. Moving back down to just off the coast of Spain, of course, this map is quite small. Here we go. So we are going with Palma, which is a city on one of the Balearic Islands. I believe it's Mallorca. Mallorca, Menorca, and Ibiza will all get to see this eclipse. There we go. Totality, perfect totality. We're getting it at just, I don't think I'm getting a time here anymore, but it's brief. It's a brief totality, that much I can tell, because we're so close to the end of the eclipse here. I'll pause time. Time is paused. I think this is just eight minutes before sunset, but it's not telling me how long the eclipse lasts, but we can see it is happening very, very low in the sky. But this should give you an idea of the kind of area that this eclipse is visible over, all through from Bilbao down to Valencia, off into the Mediterranean to Palma, but also all the way up in the other direction to Reykjavik and to the fjords in Greenland. All of this area is going to get to see this eclipse. In Iceland for over 2 minutes, down here in Spain closer to just 2 minutes, a little under 2 minutes. There is a Guadalajara in Spain, of course. I think maybe it's just because of television, but I think the Guadalajara in Mexico may be slightly more famous, at least in the English-speaking world. But there is a Guadalajara in Spain as well, in central Spain. Oh no! I've accidentally gone back to Ireland. Let's fix that. So there we go. There's Southern America, Central America, and Southern Europe. We're going for the one in Southern Europe because it is in between Bilbao and Valencia. It is closer to the middle. Again, we will get rid of the land because it is too low in the sky. So as you can see, although we're not seeing this eclipse at 100%, we're not seeing this eclipse at totality from here in Ireland, the 96% we're seeing is pretty high in the sky, less likely to be obscured by buildings and trees than the 100% that is visible in a large portion of Spain. Of course, Iceland's really getting the best of it. Iceland's really getting the best view of this eclipse. But there it is. Again, this is going to be a brief totality. We can see here that it's just a couple of seconds, really, of totality occurring. We'll see, there we go, just a minute, minute 40 seconds, minute 39 seconds. So down to about a minute and a half, and surely even less as we go down to Valencia and Palma. So that is a little bit of the eclipse. Well, a little bit more of the eclipse. We've spoken so much about it this year, and of course you can take a look at some of my previous videos where we look at the shadow of this eclipse moving across the surface of the Earth, for example. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you get to see the eclipse. It will be visible over larger regions of Europe, but those are the regions in Europe where it will look best, where we're going to get 100% totality. Again, make sure if you are observing the eclipse that you use some sort of protective eyewear, eclipse glasses, something like that, or use a pinhole camera to observe the eclipse. Most importantly, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like it. If you like this kind of content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you would like to read this information, you can do so on my website, queevinscontent.ie. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.